Okay, hi everybody. Baruch Hashem. We're on now another class, the second class. We're in number 5. We're talking about the holy, the miniature ma'at, and then it says in the beginning, and there shall be for them in a miniature Mikdash sanctuary. This is the house of our Rebbe in Bavel, regarding the central synagogue and the study hall of Lubavitch of the study hall of Lubavitch in Lubavitch 770. So we're starting on number 5. We're talking about amazing things that Rebbe is explaining how that the holiness and the third base of Mikdash, the revelations of the third base of Mikdash, is right now found in 770. So, one of the things I've done, I found out many years ago that people put letters in where the Rebbe prays in 770. They see a lot of miracles, and my father was on his deathbed at 91, had kidney failure, his blood count was 50,000, he was in a coma, had a heart attack. Doctor comes in, and we said the final prayers. He said no hope for him. Only question is whether whether we should take off his medication and let him go or leave him in this poor state, because within a week he's for sure going to be dead. I wrote into the Rebbe, and at that time, a friend of mine told me about writing to. I'd done it before. You write in, and that he sends it to. I used to send him a text. He was in Tampa, Florida, and he would send a text to his friend in Crown Heights, who would print it out and would give it to the person in charge. So I did this for my father. I wrote in. The next morning, my father wakes up. The doctor had just been the day before, no hope. My father wakes up. The doctor comes in a couple hours later. He says, open miracle. We're not doing anything. Within a week, he's out of the hospital and he's back home. Amazing things. Amazing different things. So what do I mention? So we're talking about the holiness of the place. That 770 is the holiness of the place. I had a personal experience. So one of the things I set up, because of that, I saw the miracles that are happening. That anybody, if they write in for blessings and help from the Rebbe, and they put it in where the Rebbe prays, that does miracles. I've had other miracles with it. So I set up, that's the main reason I had the app Rebbe 77 for people to write in and to save their lives and to help them out, to help out the whole world, to connect to the Moshiach, the Rebbe. So I had a very interesting experience. So when I was beginning doing tshuva in my earlier years, I was a young man. Must have been 19. Lamad's 1973, I guess. Probably 72. Probably 1972, I think. And I was praying in 770 downstairs. It's a big place. It was late in the afternoon, not late, 1, 2. And I'm walking around as I'm praying, and as I get close to it was the 20th of Av. As I get close to where the Exile, the person's leading the public prayers, where he stands and where he prays, I get close to that. I feel this all of a sudden. I feel this energy of godliness. My prayers are being heard more, and I walk away from there. It goes away. I keep walking, but I can't figure out what's happening. So then I noticed. I looked down, and I remembered that it was the yard site from the Rebbe, and he had prayed there. There was like when he would pray there, he would put a nice white cover on the podium, the standard for the person doing the prayers for everybody. So I realized at the end I felt that the Rebbe being there, it actually changed the place where you could feel holiness. So this is the whole concept. You go to 770, if you learn this, and you go to 770 and you realize that it's a special place, you feel it more. You not only feel it more, when you're there, when you think about it, it comes to you easily. Okay, so we're on number, so that's one. Other thing I'd like to say a few stories. So I have this, my name is Tzvi Rao. Tzvi, one of the things it means the will to do good. If you change the letters, and according to Atbash, it's Moshe. So my whole life is something that I know that since I'm a teenager, I'm always trying to save the world. It's been something by me. I have something good. I said, how can I give it out to everybody? This is a nature I have. This is what God gave me, the will to do good. So when anything I find something's good, I try and figure out how to give it out to the world. So before I was religious, I was into macrobiotics. I remember during the 60s, there was all the civil rights riots and everything, and I was like 16. I went with a group. I wasn't religious at all. Didn't think about God, and we lived in the ghetto in Pasadena. Different things, and I was ready to put my life on the line. That's how I'm trying to. Then I got involved in macrobiotics, which is a food regime. I was going to save the world. And finally, God brought me to Judaism. He brought me to the Rebbe. And then I finally found out what the real stuff, the real essence to give out, which is what Baruch Hashem I'm doing right now. And so when I found out about the miracles happening from the Shtender, so that the Reed said, it's interesting, so therefore I set it up for the world. So, and I give it out to people. People want it all the time. So yesterday I was at the health food store here over in Sfas. I see a lady, probably around my age or something. I said, you have a smartphone? I said, yeah, just go up to people. I said, there's an app, Rebbe. She was very interested. She told me her husband passed away recently. Her daughter has problems. So I gave her I have water I give out. And it's also, if you look on the app, it explains about the water. And we're trying to download the app for her. She has a Android. I have an Apple. I couldn't figure it out. We have this person. It's amazing. You're sitting in the store. This person helping. It's like you're in a big family here. You have a problem. People sit and they spend their time just to help you. And I helped her, and I talked about her son. And she felt so much. I told her how special she was, what she is, and that her husband is in a good place. I tell this a lot. And when I was praying for my father, this is during COVID. When people were like not going out and stuff. This was in Los Angeles. I was praying at a certain shul, the praying outside. It's difficult, whatever. So I remember I'm praying for my father, and I've had a lot of difficulties, hardness in my life, a lot of trials and tribulations at that point. And I look up like this. Up here, my father is smiling from me above. His face, he was like to say, ripe old age. He was ripe old age. He was like totally beautiful, totally wonderful. There was nothing old except ripe. He was ripe, amazing. And it made such a change in me. Because, you sometimes see things, you hear things, and you don't know if it's real. Or it could be real, but when you see it, and it's such a change. And so I told her, I said, this is my... And I told her that he's in a really good place us above. You don't have to worry about him. And that she just has to try and do good, different things. I spoke with her. And my Hebrew's not the best. And her Hebrew, well, she knows Hebrew, but she's from France. She was writing, so opened up the app. She wrote in a bracha for herself. And as I say, I saw her later on. She was happy. So this is the concept, that we should do good and find good stuff and spread it out. And all the world wants it. There's another person I met there. When I had to go to the doctor, I always try and take a few of these little bottles with me. I don't have it in front of me, but little bottles of Rebbe water, miracle water from the Rebbe. And I always find somebody, if I take it, somebody needs it. I remember I went there was a young lady, probably in her late 20s. He was also like in his late 20s, her husband. And she was very, very pregnant, very, very pregnant. And he was. I asked him. I told him about the app and the rep. They were so happy. They took the water. They took the app, and they said, "Thank you so much." I go around and I pass out these little brochures about Geula people. So it's an amazing thing. So what this means is that we're more in times of Moshiach, because everybody wants, and all you got to do is give it to them. So. Anyways, that's a story that happened to me recently. So let's go. Okay, now, so we're talking about how really that says that Mashiach. So the last class, at the end of the class, we're talking about. Let's read this. and then we'll go further. The last paragraph before 5. And we may possibly say that this is alluded to in the words of the Rambam. We're talking about how the future Mikdash will be not in Yerushalayim, but in Golos, the beginning. It says he will build. Let's go further. In other words, just as the return of the Shekhinah is from the place that it is found in exile, likewise the return of the future Mikdash, whose concept is the dwelling and revelation of Shekhinah, is from the place that the Mikdash traveled and settled there in the time of Galus, that there it is where it is revealed first. The whole holiness of the base of Mikdash is revealed first, and from there will relocate to this place in Yerushalayim. It's an amazing thing, the Rebbe is saying. And we may possibly say that this is alluded to in the words of the Rambam, the laws of King Moshiach, that he will. It says over there, he will build a Mikdash in its place. They said, what's it mean, b'makoma? It says, bana Mikdash b'makoma. What's it mean in its place? He will build the Mikdash in its place. And seemingly, what is necessary to tell us that he will build the Mikdash in its place? Why is it going to tell us that he will build the Mikdash in its place? You could just say he's going to build the Mikdash. On the other hand, why does it not say the actual place, that he will build the Mikdash in Yerushalayim? This is a chiddush of the Rebbe. The Rebbe is looking at this and telling us something brand new that no one ever figured out before. Only in his place, hence, also that to the place that the King Moshiach is in the time of exile. This is 7:7. Before indeed he's Moshiach beyond doubt, that he reaches the level that it's before he's Moshiach Vadai. No, of Hainu, what's this mean? Sh'BeBavel, that since he's in the exile, Shesham Yoshvim Umtanim Umtzapen L'Gol Ibn Israel, that he's sitting there in the exile and waits and anticipating to redeem the Jewish people and the Shekhinah with them. From the exile, the King Moshiach will build a miniature Mikdash. In other words, King Moshiach, before we go to the final base of Mikdash, is going to build one, which is similar to the Mikdash that the Holy Temple of Yerushalayim, like the Synagogue of Shapha Yosef, the Mikdash that traveled and settled there, as a preparation for the future Mikdash, which this will be revealed there first. So first, the holy temples are revealed in 770, and there it will return with Hashem and the Jewish people to Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem. So, what was I looking over here? So it says over here, the King Moshiach will build a miniature Mikdash, which is similar to the Mikdash in Yerushalayim. And it says a footnote 38. The Rebbe says, Ulai, Yesh Namor. It says it's a big kid, it's a big new thing. Maybe Rebbe generally says there is to say, he's being humble. Rebbe's telling you something new that nobody else revealed before. Now he says even when it's Ulai, maybe there is to say, it means it's even something more hidden that he's revealing, he says. And it's possible we may say that the statement in the Midrash, Yakshmuni Yeshayahu, Remes 499, that when the King Moshiach comes, he will stand on the roof of the base of Mikdash and announce to the Jewish people, saying, humble ones, the time of your redemption has arrived, referring to the roof of the base of Mikdash, of the miniature base of Mikdash, outside the land of Israel, which is in the place of the Mikdash of Yerushalayim, the Holy Temple of Yerushalayim, where that had traveled and settled there. For after the future Mikdash, the roof and the base of Mikdash, the miniature outside Jerusalem, which is the place of the Mikdash, for after the future Mikdash will be revealed and descend below, it will not be necessary to announce to the Jewish people the time of your redemption has arrived. So my Rebbe is saying here is an amazing thing. You know, I tell people in 91, 92, when the Rebbe used to bring in that they used to have like these big hookups that now is like nothing, but at that time it was in infancy. They used to have a whole room, and the whole room had to have the whole room was used to send out to 10 different cities in the world, and they had like a dish that was like 2-3 stories high, a satellite dish. It was like, and this was now you just pick up your phone and you connect with everything 1, 2, 3. But the Rebbe saw that in times of they said there won't have to be an announcement, because we know now It's simple, davar pashut, that when something happens, everybody knows right away. You don't have to make an announcement because of because of the news and everything. So this is a very interesting thing. So it says over there, the Rebbe is saying the Bechiddush, that the Rebbe, when we would have hookups, we would have these satellite hookups. That's like the Moshiach is standing on the roof. The satellite is on the roof. That's standing on the roof of the Holy Temple, and he's the time of redemption comes. This is what the Rebbe is doing. This is what this Sikha is doing. This is what the Rebbe is saying right now, and he said this in a talks that went through all the world through the satellite. Amazing stuff. So let's go for okay. So now we're on number 5, and we may add that in explaining the virtue of the house of our Rebbe, that its advantage the synagogues and study halls in Bavel. Another thing amazing when you're learning Dvar Malchus is that when we're learning this, this is the new Torah of the Messiah, the Moshiach, the redemption. That the Rebbe tells amazing things, and he keeps going to more amazing things. Like this is beyond amazement. Now we're going to see Rebbe's going to say even more, going deeper into amazement, deeper into stuff. So let's see. That's it. We may add that in explaining in the virtue of the house of our Rebbe in Bavel, that its advantage over the synagogues and study halls in Bavel is, what's advantage? Is that in addition to the synagogues and study halls aspects in the house of our rabbi, also due to being the house of our Rebbe. I have to look this in Hebrew what I'm saying here. Yeshlo Sh'BeBavel the base of Mikdash of Bavel Sh'Mailus Gabi base of Mikdash say he Nosav on minus a basic condition of base of Mikdash base of Rain Gamatzat Ha Yosef base Rebbe. So he says, in addition to the fact that it's the house being the house of our Rebbe is undefined of all the Jewish people, the leader of Jenner, our Rebbe in Bavel, the leader of the rabbi of all the Jewish people in the diaspora. This is the house of the leader of the generation, which the leader is everything. So let's go over this again. So the Rebbe says, and there's to add, in explaining the special quality of the base Rebbe Sh'BeBavel, my Lusa Lagabi, that is a special quality in reference to all the other the shuls and the midrashim that were in Bavel, all the other ones. He, in addition, that it has a special quality because it's the base kanes, it's the place of prayer and learning of the Rebbeinu. Gam mitzad Yosef base Rebbeinu. It's also in the general thing it has that it's for everybody, the most special place. But it's also called Beis Rabeinu, the house of our Rebbe. Rabbeinu Stam de Kol Yisrael. It doesn't say the base of this Rebbe or that Rebbe. It says our Rebbe, our Rabbeinu, means for everybody. Nasi Ador. This is the house of the leader of the generation. Rebbeinu Sh'BeBavel, the leader of the generation that's in Bavel in exile. Rabban shall call B'nei Kolos. The Rebbe is saying that the leader, Moshiach, has found that he's the head of all the Jewish people in exile. Beis shall Nasi Ador. That it's the house of the leader of the generation, but Nasi who are called, and the Nasi is everything. So the Rebbe is saying here, and is known that this is the Rebbe's house, and he's saying here that this is the Rebbe's house, and not only it's the Nasi, which is everything, the Moshiach of our generation. Okay. The main phenomena of the dwelling of the Shekhinah is in the Jewish people. We're the main things, not a physical thing. Due to the virtue of the Jewish people and Hashem are all one. That we're one with God. As it said, that they should make a Mikdash for me, and I will dwell among you. It does not say in it. In Hebrew, it would say b'socho. It would say in it, but rather it says in you. Likewise, and there's the whole idea, it's dwelling, the base of the Holy Temple is dwelling in every person, each and every Jew. Likewise, regarding the dwelling of the Shekhinah in the time of exile in Bavel, in the Synagogue, the Mikdash of Mikdash, 770, as emphasized in the beginning of the passage, come and see how precious the Jewish people are to Hashem, that whoever wherever they were exiled, the Shekhinah is with them. Moreover, that the revelation of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence of the base of Mikdash, is because that is where all the Jewish people gathered, as the verse says, when all the Jewish people come to appear before Hashem, your God, in the place that He chooses. And similarly to the synagogues and synagogues where 10 Jews gather together, for the Shekhinah dwells among every gathering of 10 Jews. And the Rebbe says that the main holiness is as a result of the Jews getting together and pray. And it says any place where you have a quorum of 10 Jews together and they're praying, they with a great revelation. Rebbe brings down footnote 48 over here. And seeing Tanya equals the Kodesh Ver, that I heard from my rabbis, that if one angel would be found in the presence, and instead we're talking about angels, they're special. Singing to God, we're talking about praising, and one special God's creations. But there were one angel, that there were 10 Jewish people together, even if they weren't speaking Torah, even if they weren't shining with godliness, speaking Torah. And the truly great awe, of no bounds would fall upon it. This angel will be so, the revelation of godliness of the Shekhinah, of the divine, was so great from the Shekhinah, that it's resting upon them to the extent that it would expire and completely cease to existence. It would go out of its existence, too much light. It says when the Torah was given, it says that God said the first 2 commandments, I'm the Lord your God, took you out of Egypt, and there should be no other gods besides me. So it says over there that the souls, for each word, the souls went up above and went back to God. What happened? There was so much light that was revealed that the souls, that it finished the whole avoda, the whole service. The reason in this world is to correct the world, to make it better. So this light came and that cleaned up everything, and so their souls went back to God, and God brought them back down. It says in the times of the future, when the dead wake up, it says that will be from the tal, from the dew, a special dew will come down from heavens. So it says this dew brought them back into being. But why I'm bringing this up shows you that there's a level, and with so much revelation of godliness, that things can become just burnt out of existence. The same thing here, the angels, that when they're in by a congregation of Jews, even the highest of all angels, they can't stay as existence. They come out of existence, included back into God. Okay, and we may say, where are we holding? We were over 48. Hold on a second, guys. Each and every country. Okay. And based on this level, we may explain that the virtue of the house of our Rebbe in Bavel, that since it is a permanent place, a house of the leader of the generation, and the leader, Nasi Hakol, is everything, who includes the entire generation, it has in it the dwelling and the revelation of the entire Shekhinah, not only parts that dwell and revealed among 10 Jews, everything. The different levels of the indwelling of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence, similarly to the dwelling and the revelation of the Shekhinah in the base of Mikdash. It's an amazing thing, which the Mikdash, the whole we've traveled and settled there. Rebbe's quoting from how, in times, quote throughout the Sikha, throughout this Kuntres, but the main place always went to one place to another. From it is drawn forth, from this place, the dwelling and the revelation of the Shekhinah in all the synagogues and study halls in the lands with which they come, like the base of Mikdash, from which the light goes out to the whole world. The Rebbe says an amazing thing here. He says this main sanctuary that is in place of the Holy Temple, which is, as we go on later at 770 and now, he says that all the light from the whole world comes from that. Because it's the Holy Temple that's in the exile. And just like from the Holy Temple, it shined everything out. That means the life force of all the synagogues, all the prayer, everything can come from that. We have to understand the specialness of 770 and that such a thing exists. And all you have to do is go to 770. After you learn the Sikha, if you go to 770, you'll see what the Rebbe is talking. You'll feel it. It's amazing. And we may say that the house of our leader of the generation, who includes the entire generation, is similar to Tapeos. tapeos. A tile, mound that all the payos, all the mounds turn to. Tapeos is a Hebrew term. It says it, but it says over here that means that everybody turns to it. They're all praying to it. Regarding the Beis Mikdash, when we pray to God, and we pray the special prayer 3 times a day, we face the Holy Temple. So it says that, and we may say that the house of the leader of generation, who includes the entire generation, is similar to Tapeos. That similarly, that everybody's looking towards it. Everybody's going, just like the Holy Temple, since this is the Holy Temple that's in Golos, so everybody's looking. This is a chiddush from the Rebbe thing. As the exposition says regarding the Beis Mikdash. Of the Iker, Hamayla the Beis Mikdash. Of the Iker, Hamayla the Beis Rabeinu Sh'BeBavel Nogeb L'Gula. And the more mainly it says the virtue of the house of our Rebbe and Bavel regarding the redemption. It said Rabbeinu Nasi Ador who gam Moshiach go olam shel Yisrael b'dora. It says our Beinu, our leader, he's also the Moshiach, the redeemer of the generation. Just like Moses was the first leader, he's called Moses, but was called reachable, called Achron, the first and the final redeemer. As it's known that in every generation there's one person befitting his righteousness. The call the Gadur Chabakaldor Yeshno Echad Haroim Mitzvah leaves Goya. It was a good Giyazman Yagala Lava Shem Yisbrak Beisako. That in every generation there's one person befitting his righteousness, to be the Redeemer, and when the time comes, Hashem will reveal Himself to him and send him. And it is reasonable to say that it is the leader of the generation, as clearly writes in Talmud. So the Rebbe says, "Who's this person?" He says it's the leader of the generation, like it explains in the Gemara in reference to Rebbe Yehuda Nasi. He says, "Amar Rab Iman Chaya." They're talking about over there who's Moshiach. So as they said regarding Rebbe Yehuda Nasi. They call him Rab, said if he's from those that are alive, the candidate will be from Rabbeinu HaKodesh, Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, the leader of the generation. So what Rebbe is pointing out is that the leader of the generation, the Nasi Hakol, that's the Moshiach of the generation. That means Rabbeinu is very special. Look at footnote 53. Put this on. It says over above, we said, the Rebbeinu, the leader of the generation, is also the Moshiach, the redeemer of the Jewish people of the generation. So Rebbeinu, so we note that in every Jew, there's a spark of the soul of Moshiach. We all have Moshiach. And based on this, we can reconcile the exposition of our sages, what they said on the verse in Balak, that a star will shoot forth from Yaakov, which refers to King Moshiach, and refers to every single Jew. There's 2 places. It also reads, in one place it says it refers to Moshiach. That's Yerushalmi Tainus, and in Yerushalmi Masa Sheni, at the end of the chapter 4, it says every Jew, which both are actually true. Why is this? That since, and we're explaining about how we're all part of Moshiach. Moshiach is part of us. We're all Moshiach. So, since in every Jew there's the spark of the soul of Moshiach, the level of Yechida, the soul of every Jew, that level, the inner part, how you connect to the essence of God, the spark of Yechida. The Yechida means a part of the soul. There are different parts of the soul. In the soul, we learn they're like five levels, and the first 3 levels are being clothed in the body. 2 higher levels is one is called Chaya, which is above the world, but has relevance. And the third one is just totally one with God, which is totally above anything in the world. So that's Yechida. So each Jew, this level he has is Yechida. That level is tied in to the general Yechida, which is the soul of Mashiach, the generation. So the level Yechida of every Jew is a spark of Yechida of every Jew. In general, that the soul of Mashiach, it says, I'll go over this again. It's the love Yechida of Yechida, a spark of Yechida of the Jewish people in general. That's in every Jew is from the soul of Mashiach, And being that the leader's everything, that he includes all the sparks of Mashiach, so everything is included in him, which is in every single Jew, and an individual aspect of it has an individual aspect of this unity of Yechida, one with God. Indeed, his soul is the Yechida of the Jewish people in general, that the soul of Mashiach. Hence, he is Mashiach of the generation. In other words, there's this level of point how your mamish is totally one with God above. It talks about in the Hasidus many different levels. You're totally one with God above. And this level, how you're totally one with this part of you, it's called Mashiach, the highest level. And you're a particular Mashiach, but the general one that spreads through the whole world is Mashiach himself. So therefore, when he's saying that says, the verse, it says that a star will shoot forth from Yaakov, we're talking about the level of Mashiach. First, the simple Mashiach, and also the level of Mashiach that's in every Jew. So I say, check Rebbe 770, REBBE 770. Right now I have a lot on the app. It's an app to download. The classes are on that. And we're putting them also on Rebbe770.com, REBBECO.com, except Rebbe770.com. And you'll see that we have classes, and you can get the transcripts also there. You can also buy them, but probably the best, you can go to livingmashiach.com, LIVING, Moshiach.com. You can get the books. This is the book I have. It's a bilingual. It's great because you have the original. It's in Yiddish and Hebrew. So some people don't know Yiddish, but it's the original book. You're getting the original book, how it was printed. It's bigger print, and you're having that in your library. Okay, so where were we holding now? 53. Sorry, guys. Okay, so then we're talking about leader again. Let's see what he had, 58. Where is this from? Sorry, guys. Oh, 57, interesting. Very interesting. This is a basis people ask, did the Rebbe ever call himself Moshiach? He implied in everything he did that he's Moshiach. He didn't outright say, because he's waiting for us. But it says over here, in footnote 57, Rabbeinu Sh'BeBavel, Shekumo Rabbeinu Kodesh, that it says over there, what was it saying over there, 57? That it says that it's reasonable to say that the leader of the generation has clearly written in Talmud regarding Rebbe Yehuda Nasi, Rav, and says that if he's from those that are alive, we're talking about he would be Moshiach. He's Moshiach. So Rabbeinu Sh'BeBavel, so it says over there, the rabbi, the Rabbeinu that's in Bavel, who Kamo Rabbeinu Kodesh, it's like he was like the rabbi that was in the Holy Land. According to this, there is to say, Shedibra Ram, Hainu Rabbeinu Kodesh, Pasuk Bagir La'atzmash Hainu Rabbeinu Sh'BeBavel. So the Rebbe says over here, based on this, that we say that the words that it is Rabbeinu Kodesh, that's the one that was in the Holy Land, ruled about himself that it is Rabbeinu, and he is the Rabbeinu Sh'BeBavel. The Rebbe is talking about that he rules. It said that this person is like the leader of the generation, the leader of it. And since when he made this decision, he's calling it upon himself. That's what he says. Similarly to the explanation of the wording of the Mishnah. The interesting thing, the wording of Mishnah that says din b'cheshbon. You're supposed to make a judgment and then evaluation. So it should be quite the opposite. First you make an evaluation, then you judge what to do. So you go to court to make an evaluation. He says, no, what's this mean? Based on the words of the Mishnah, that they repay him knowingly and unknowingly. That after a person knowingly rules the predicament of his friend, he rules the same for himself unknowingly. In other words, he says, this guy is didn't do this, didn't do that. He's lazy, doesn't go to work, whatever. He makes these judgments on this guy. So then it's going, since based on his judgment, they make an evaluation that regarding on his own predicament. In other words, so therefore, when he comes up above and he's having issues and stuff, they're going to make the same thing. The guy's lazy, he's a bum, whatever that. So this is the negative sense. But in the positive, we know that attribute in the Torah, positive, it's greater than the attribute of negative. So if you judge somebody positive, means that you're judging, you're viewing them in the most positive, like he's saying, this Moshiach of the generation. He's so special. You're din b'cheshbon, you're making a judgment. So this cheshbon goes back onto you, even if you don't say it. Like you judged him, you're also judged. Like the Rebbe is the leader of the generation, they're also Moshiach of the generation. They're a very important thing, because the Rebbe always talks about the greatness of the prior Rebbe, his Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe. And he was saying he did this, he did that. And a lot of times you look, and what the Frierdiker Rebbe he talks about, he's teaching women. He started, but in very little. Rebbe and talking about outreach, nobody's did like the Rebbe, but he was the beginning. But he, just like he's telling everybody and judging that the Frierdiker Rebbe, which the Rebbe said was Moshiach of his generation, he's calling himself Moshiach of the generation. Okay, so let's see where we're holding. And from this, and now we're talking about the specialness of Moshiach, and from this is understood that the main central point of the house of our Rebbe in Bavel is the redemption from Bavel. What's the main thing? We're going to go to the final redemption through the empowerment to and for the general service of Jewish people to make Bavel outside land into the land of Israel, and is known the expression make here outside the land of Israel. So how do we do this? Is we make our place holy. We reveal godliness, reveal the essence of God in every place, in the exile. And this, by revealing that, and what's it mean? How's that making this place Israel? Israel, the land of Israel, is a holy place where God just shines. So if you take wherever you are, from Chassidus, during Torah Mitzvah, Tzedakah, all the different things, and you make that place shine from godliness. And you walk, like when you walk in 770, then the example, you see how it's holy, special. Which this is accomplished first and foremost for the building of synagogues and study halls, a ministry of Mikdash, in the lands that they came to. They have to be special told. From them, the holiness is drawn throughout the lands of the nations. And so therefore, through them, God reveals himself in all the temples and all the synagogues and shuls, and it goes to the nations. And through this, we hasten the accomplishment, the fulfillment of the process. The Eretz Israel is destined to spread throughout the world. This is an amazing thing that Rebbe said when you set up a shul in a city, that this is like the Mikdash, the place of through learning and davening, that you spread this to the whole community. And from here it spreads this idea of spreading Israel to all the lands. The entire world will then be on the level of Eretz Israel of now, and Eretz Israel will be on the level of Yerushalayim of now. And this is meant that they said that Yerushalayim will be spread over the entire Eretz Israel, which is the synagogues and study halls of Bavel, will be connected to the Mikdash. In other words, all the shuls from since the time of that we lived in Mitzrayim, they're all going to be connected to the Beis Mikdash. So it's going to have this. There's a lot of shuls, Baruch Hashem. So the whole land of Israel will be Yerushalayim. Amazing stuff. And since the main aspect of the house of our Rebbe in Bavel is the gathering together of all the synagogues and study halls in Bavel, and sent them in Eretz Israel, connected to the Beis Mikdash. So the main thing of the Beis Mikdash of Bavel is to bring all the Jews, all the Beis Mikdash that they should be attached, they should be reestablished in the land of Israel, and they should be attached to the Holy Temple. This is one of the main things, as Rebbe says. The main thing, since the main thing of 770 is that through 770 that you're able to, that everybody's going to go through the Holy Temple. The main ministry of Mikdash in Bavel, Well, indeed, it is not only the main Minish and Mikdash in Bavel, the Mikdash traveled and settled there, rather also the actual place of the Mikdash of the future. The Rebbe puts this in italics, that the Mikdash of the future is found right now in 770. That it will be revealed the future Mikdash, that in it will be revealed the future Mikdash, and from there will be returned to Yerushalayim. Amazing things the Rebbe's talking about. They'll understand how Mashiach's really here. And the Rebbe's Melch Mashiach, because he's the leader of the shul. He's the man. So he's talking about amazing stuff. And what it is, when you go there and you see how special it is, and you see people pray there, they're answered, their prayers are answered. I actually I had a relative. I don't want to go into more detail, but he got strung out on heroin, and he had a single dad, had a few kids, nice person, just had a problem. So he was going clean, and it was very hard on him because he was a lot of pain, and so he called me. I'm very close with him, so he called me. Very worried, didn't hear from several hours. I don't know about this, but I guess I go through a lot of pain and withdrawals, and then I didn't hear from him a while. So I wrote into the Rebbe, and at that point, I would text to my friend, and he would text his friend was in Tampa, Florida at the time. He would text his friend in 770, and I would print it out and put it into where the Rebbe prays in 770. So I found out so what happened is he was going clean with terrible pain. All of a sudden I hear from him. As soon as I wrote in, I hear from him. He says, I'm feeling better. And all of a sudden he went to 12-sec program, which he wasn't able to do before. And he was like just amazed. He's turned over, started believing in God, started doing it, putting out tefillin, started just believing and having his life totally turned over. As a matter of one person had OD'd. He himself told me he'd OD'd a few times. The miracle is alive. Then one person OD'd in their group, and he was realizing how lucky he was alive. So, but I found out that the rabbi in 770 didn't have time to give it to him. It was like, a thing of urgency. So, and in 770, when you go to someone, the Rebbe comes out, there's like a shvil, a lane that opens up. So when the Rebbe came out, he read this to the Rebbe, and it worked. And that was the Rebbe's, and even though we didn't still see the Rebbe's at 770. Now we're number 6. Based on this, well, I think we have to do another class. Okay, we're going to start number 6. We're going to learn more and more about 770, how special it is. I was actually, I take Uber a lot, so I talk to Uber drivers. So it's not far where I live in Crown Heights. It's about a 10-15 minute walk. But I was tired, or whatever I remember. So I was taking this guy giving me a ride. And he ended up, he says he's from Nigeria. And he told me, he's talking to me, and he told me that he knew the Rebbe because he used to see the Rebbe walking a lot. The Rebbe was always nice to him. I forget what he told him, but he was very impressed. I was talking about 770, Moshiach, and Moshiach's here. I'm sorry, and that it's very special, and that about the Rebbe, just generally Moshiach. And the Rebbe, he's the Moshiach of the generation. People sing all kinds of miracles. As we were driving down Kingston, which is a street near 770, there was a picture of the Rebbe it was actually a U-Haul. They rent these and they go out to do outreach with them. I look at him and that's the man. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, I know that man. I used to see him walking. And he was always very nice to me. So I told him that 770 is the central place. You should go there and pray. And he looked at me and said, will they allow me in there? I said, yeah. I said, better not wear a cross if you can. But sure, no, they'll allow you in there. He was amazed. People are amazed that you have no idea. Please check what's doing in the world. We have so much available for us to do good and help people out. It's unbelievable. So Zayg, be well, everybody. Now we're going to start on Vav, on number 6. And That will be the third class. Kol Tov.